And sure enough, old Private Lee stumbled and fell to the door. And I guess I pick him up with one hand, and I don't remember. Thorstad is telling me the story. He's like, "You picked him up off the floor, set him back down, and said, 'You good? Okay, bye,' and safely exited him out of the aircraft. And the whole, the rest of the chalk went off safely. So that is my like, hey, when things go wrong, we take care of it, and we still execute. Yep, it was. Yeah.
Marshall in the middle.
Oh my gosh, look at your background, dude. Look at that. Woo, woo, what's going on? It doesn't get much better.
Hey,
The Jumpmaster. What's going on, buddy?
hey, how you doing, Will?
Man, I'm doing great, buddy. I'm doing great. I'm trying to figure out, are you in my headphones? Say something to me.
All right, can you hear me now? How's this?
Yeah, I do hear you. I hear you great. I wanna get you in my headphones. I got speakers, external headphones. Test 1, 2. Talk to me.
Alrighty.
Yeah, now I got you. Can you hear me good?
Yeah. Actually, I'll turn you up just a little bit because there we go.
Look at you, buddy. Look at you. What's going? So, where are you from, Matt?
So I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. The Mistake by the Lake, up there. It's all good. Yep. And so yeah, we can start it there. I'm now currently living in Bixby, Oklahoma.
You know how I know about Bixby? I know about Bixby, Oklahoma from Phil and Brent doing KMOD, how big a old boy are you, stuff. They had a bit they used to do about Bixby, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I'm seeing it. We just moved about a month ago. We moved out here because I'm also your local veterans employment rep with the Oklahoma Employment Security Commission. So still out there, doing great things for soldiers and helping them get back to work and get into the workforce and, just not leaving anybody behind. And
Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome, man. Thanks for that, man. That's awesome. Look at that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been fun. I was going to go over and help out old Hockenberry and the crew over there and for a little bit because my daughter, I'll flash forward for you here. My daughter, I retired out of Germany, and my daughter was like, "I'm going to Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma, Dad." And we got ready to retire, and I looked at Mama, and she looked at me and said, "I don't want to go back to the East Coast, so let's go to Oklahoma for a couple of years." Came out here. We were in Stillwater with her for a little bit, and then, like I said, I got that job working with veterans all day. I mean, it is great. It's like part of it's like you never got out, but then part of it's like, oh yeah, that is reality. So,
amen.
It's
so you bring a maturity to something after being, all the places you've been and the things you did, you know. So tell me about it, about growing up as a kid. Were you the bicycle ramp builder, or were you the guy going no no no? Tell me about that.
Nah, so growing up here again, I grew up in a suburb of Cleveland, not in downtown itself, but kind of still a nice suburb back in the '80s. Directly behind me was like about 2 acres of woods. We lived on a cul-de-sac. Everybody knew each other. Like I've heard before, when the street lights came on, you knew to come in. And if you were thirsty, you ran over to the garden hose and you quickly drank up. And definitely something the kids are missing out on today. But with those woods behind me, Will, like my mom was like, "There's no surprise that he retired from the Army. He liked doing this as a little kid and was always riding his BMX bicycle out back behind the house until all hours." Yeah, and just doing wild off the wall stuff like that back then. And it really kind of led up to when I graduated. As a matter of fact, hey, Will, you ever been up to the Cleveland area, up around
No,
Northeast Ohio.
not at
Okay.
all. I am not familiar with that at all. I would love to.
Well, if you get up there, go up to a place called Sandusky, Ohio. There'll be a place called Cedar Point, and that's one of those amazement parks that roller coaster things. And every summer, it's wide open. So they hire you starting at 16, and you go out there and you're having a great time, working and all that kind of thing. And that really springboarded me into when I went away for the first year to college. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go away to the big Ohio University down there and get educated. And after about 2 quarters of that, I found out, oh man, the bills are piling up, and well, how do I take care of it? And one of the guys that was a JROTC cadet, his brother was actually serving, and talked us into going down with him and hanging out at a National Guard armory. And next thing I knew, we were raising our right hands, and I was learning to be a 16 Sierra in El Paso, Texas. I had no clue what that was, but let's put it this way, Will, I'll tell you something. It was in November of 90 when we signed up and stuff. And we all know what happened in 91. Well, guess where I was for basic training? When you all great Americans rolled across the line of departure there, I was in basic training getting smoked the dog with the doo-doo out of. So that was good times.
Oh wow, man! So you're in basic training when we're rolling into Iraq and doing Operation what is it, Iraqi Freedom? Is that what we called it back then, or was it Desert Storm? It was
Desert Storm 1. Yep.
Oh wow,
Yep.
man, that's so funny. That seems,
Yeah.
dude. That's like a lifetime ago, dude. Right?
Shh, don't tell anybody.
I
It
know
sure
we're
seems
so
like it.
old, man. We're so freaking like. Okay, so right. So I'm of the age where I have noticed my testosterone has started to wane, right? You know what I mean? You can feel yourself, you're starting to go down the hill. It's like, oh no, man. Oh
Yeah.
no. Yeah. So tell me about joining the Army 1990. They're smoking the dog shit out of you. You're there are you on Logan Heights?
Yes, I was, but let me back up a little bit.
All
So
right.
actually, I joined the Ohio National Guard, the 173rd there in, or is it 172nd? I'm sorry, 172nd out of McConnellsville, and they were dusters. They still had Jeeps. When I got there, I got to drive the old Jeep with the Stinger rack on the back, and they did a crew drill for me. Thought it was cool, the coolest thing since sliced cheese, and it was like, how do I get some of that craft? So flash forward, like I said, joined up. The supply sergeant took me under the wing. That's why I've got one of the old banana suit PTs. I've got my OG 107s. I learned how to drive a 5-ton back then, the old 6-speed. And literally the supply sergeant looked at me and was like, we got to get this stuff out, because it was one of the natural disasters at, wintertime. And he said, oh, go grab the deuce and a half. All right. Wander over there, getting the deuce and a half, crank it up. It's like, oh shit, where's drive? Uh-oh, I better learn how to do this. Hey, Sarge. He said, well, you can't fuck it up. And I was like, oh yeah, you can. But we got it out there, got the sandbags and the snow shoveled and all that great stuff. So just a lot of great camaraderie back then. And that unit transitioned from Duster to Hawk to now it's Patriot. And when we get into Iraq in 06, 07, with old Timothy Hockenberry, guess who we replaced? That same 172nd unit. And the only buddy that remembered me was that lone commo sergeant. He was like, damn, Private. I said, excuse me? By this point, I've got the bottom rocker on, and I said, hey, come here. Let's have a little talk, sir.
Oh, that's great.
You dirty leg is what I think it was. But
oh, that's
yeah.
funny. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny.
So
yeah. So you started out in the National Guard,
right.
in a Duster unit.
Yep.
That's was crap. But you were a Sierra. You were a 16 Sierra.
Yep. 16 Sierra. I went. We did our first. So I go to AIT. I'm like runner up for super troop of the cycle and all that. Great stuff. Um, get to my unit, they do their AT. I'm the top, gunner for the whole thing. So I get a live red eye. I get a red eye. Plus, I got the live stinger, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, this ought to be cool." Um, and then my team chief kind of got to know me, and he was like, "Hey, you're really good at this. It's passionate." He said, "And unless you really like working at Denny's," he said, "you might want to make a career change." So somewhere along in '94, I found this really cute girl to marry because I thought that was the greatest thing to do was get married and join the army. Ship off. My first duty station is McCully Barracks, Wackenheim, Germany, 5380A.
I didn't know that. I didn't
Yes,
know that.
sir.
You went to Germany. Cool.
Yep.
First thing. So, were you still? I always thought you were a Vulcan for some reason.
No, I was always a Sierra.
Yay!
Always.
That's awesome, dude. That's
Yep.
awesome. So you go to McCully Barracks, and so what rank were you when you came in?
I was a PFC.
Okay.
No, I was yeah, I was a PFC for a day and then specialist. Um, yeah, I don't even remember the circumstances. Will that was so long ago. I can't even find any of the 4187s for the promotions or any of that, which is kind of unusual. But yeah, so yeah, it was cool. Went there because I kind of, like I said, I beat it around and I thought, man, heard all these great things. Had some great mentors in that unit too. That God bless their souls. They're up higher now, and things of that nature. And it's just so it just kept rolling. And I was always a Sierra. When I got to Germany in '94, the Avenger was first coming online, and we went to the MIT training. I went through it with old Paris Williams. He was a young E5. That was matter of fact, that was my first year, '94. I went to the Stinger comp with the USERA Stinger competition with Paris Williams. I think I was like team 5 for the battalion or something like that, so it was really great. And then to meet Paris all these years later and, talk the stories of, oh shit, you were that cocky little E5 running around, you know?
Isn't it neat to see, so looking back on all of us, we all, I guess, in our own way, especially as I talk to more and more people, we were all like our own little ghosts in a way, We were just like we were all especially SHORAD guys. We're all in competition with each other. Our little team, our
Yep.
little squad, our little battery. It was like, dude, we were Alpha Battery versus Charlie Battery. We'd fight each other, dude. It's like, no. But deep down inside, we always knew that we were kind of in the same foxhole and on the same team, and that's why our bond is so amazing right now, right? The bond of a paratrooper, you can't touch it, right? You cannot touch it.
And you know what, Will? You know what I like? Here's a point for you. And I'm going to give you one of your next ones. You got to do me a favor. I got a paratrooper for you. He went to Grenada. He went to Panama. He did all those crazy places long before it was on the news. His name is Robert Williams, and he was a jump master. He was the first sergeant at the airborne school, probably when you or Joe Stout went through. He works for me. He's one of my disabled veteran outreach program specialists, and he helps you like literally write your resume. He's been doing this for the last 15 years in Sapulpa, Oklahoma. And before that, he was teaching, JROTC and some other things. And
yeah.
But here again, retired U.S. Army First Sergeant, long tabber, used to be 18 Charlie, not Charlie, a Delta. He was a explosives dude because he'll still try to, oh, give me some C4. Come on, man. And I was like, oh, like he had a hard time with the previous man, the position I filled. And because you got to be a veteran, 30% in order to fill the role. Well, the last kid, he was a kid. He was like, 35, only did one term, and it didn't work out. So they bring me on board, and they're like, man, Robert's gonna, just kind of test your waters. Just, be prepared. And I said, I kind of laughed. I had heard he was a Jumpmaster in the 82nd. And I said, more like, you better watch out, because when you get the two of us together, two Jumpmasters, I said, oh man, it's over for you. And sure enough, he turned around and he started in on me. And I said, red light, red light, red light, Jumpmaster. And he was like, what? He kind of looked at me. And I said, hey, because I had a tie tack on the day, with the Master Blaster wings on it. And I said, I think these look familiar, don't they? And he goes, yeah. I said, we need to step outside to the smoke pit. He said, oh, let's go. So.
Oh, that's great, man. That's great.
Yep.
So tell me about the camaraderie of being a jump master. Tell me about that. Is there, like man, you and I, we're jump masters, right? We have a common language, nomenclature. We know hand and arm signals. We sing the same song together, right?
It's a mindset.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's a mindset, isn't it, Will? I mean, more of a mindset, like if you tell me you're going to call me at 7:00, hey, you're going to be there at 7:00, not at 7:05, at 10 after, at 10 till. No, you're going to be there at 7:00, and you'll show up ready to listen and talk, and you're not going to have like the dog running in and out of the side and stuff, so there's commonalities that you and I will expect from each other. And, that's exactly what this relationship was with him. I said, hey, because they were like, he just ran over the last guy. And I looked at him and I said, hey, check it out, Jumpmaster. I'm now primary in this aircraft. Control my static line. And he was like, okay, I got you. I understand completely. And he'll call me and he'd be like, hey, you need to call this person and tell them this and do this. Oh, okay, I got you. And I'd execute it. And then, everybody's like, why did that work so quick? And I said, it's a bond in the airborne wind that I can't even explain, that goes decades, because that's what you love about the association too, right? I know you're a lifetime member too. And you go to those things and it's just amazing. And then, Will, I had the great honor of walking some of Omaha and the beaches of Normandy, and I went to the Mecca of St. Mary. Oh, that was just, to me, that made my career. Having that extra time in Europe at the end, it was just take a week's leave and you go on up there long before this COVID stuff and all that. So it was great. Like, they have hangars dedicated just to us, and you walk through it and you're so proud. You can just feel the heritage as you walk through. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude. Yes. I'm just, dude, the energy coming off of you is just so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. So tell me about young Sergeant Sarver, okay? You got to tell me about young Sergeant Sarver, okay? You were at a time, you went to PLDC, you got promoted. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, all right, so we can, here, I really got a real great appreciation. All right, like you said, you're 82nd guy, you're mostly light infantry, right? That's what everybody knows you for. Well, what about the time that you spent in a Patriot unit, right? Nobody thinks about that. But so mine goes, I was in heavy mech over there with the M1s up until 97. And then, so yeah, I went to Grafenveer and I talked to the trees. They all know how to be the most professional non-commissioned officer ever in a foreign country. Those trees right there in Grafenveer, I think they are the smartest ones. So we did that, and that was where I also, so that 94 to 97, I was part of I-4 too. We drew the Avengers. I did all that, whatever training, the upgraded training for the Avenger. Yeah, and we deployed it to Bosnia. We were the first ones. To this day, my mom will tell you that's her son standing on the side of the Sava, because we had the near side security. And I'm like, this bridge is brought to you by, I don't remember. It was cold, and I was standing there with a piece of cardboard. And yeah, so that was fun. Driving down the road, that was the first time I ever seen anybody put a Coleman stove on top of a 524 and almost caught the whole Humvee on.
Dude, because if you block that fan, you'll burn that sucker up, man.
Yes. So it was fun. He's over there cooking us coffee and stuff, and we're hauling tail down the road from. We drove from Tazar, Hungary, all the way into Bosnia, Maine, and drove that Avenger all that whole time. Went up actually to a three-man team, and I'll tell you that's where I really had. That's when I met the mentors and knew I wanted to graduate over to the 82nd. I come walking up, me and my battle buddy. I've been wanting to tell you this story, Will. You're gonna die laughing at this one. So we're pulling guard duty in Bosnia, and I'm doing the relief at night, and we walked up, and we were real quiet. We were messing with the sergeant that was up there because here we were, two E4s. We were like the rotating guys that gave you a day off. And we get up in there, and they're asleep. And as soon as I opened the door, the E5 woke up. Big dude, big old Willie Sims, and like knocked the shit out of the first guy through the door, my buddy, because when he woke up, it was just flying because he was sitting next to the door. And next thing I know, he picked his gunner up, and he's dangling him outside the thing like, I'm gonna drop you. You fell asleep. We had He said, you sorry freaking leg. And I look over at him, and he's double stacked, and I'm like, man, that is a mean mother scooter, and the platoon sergeant that he had was like, hey, that's Sergeant Sims. Don't fuck with him. He's from the 82nd like me. And I was like, oh, because they brought over another platoon to plus us up after we got started. Yeah. Michael Leach. That's where I met Leach. Yep. There's a lot of us 5-3 alum that kicked it around and stuff like that. So that was Germany. And then in 97, as I'm getting ready to leave and re-enlist, they said, hey, we got a position open in Alaska. I said, man, what the hell is in Alaska? That's polar bear country, right? Well, you know who was there in 97? A brand new Sergeant First Class by the name of Joey Stout. And he was starting up a band up there, and it was fun times.
Starting up a band up there. That's right, dude. He would. He's like me, starting up bands. He just is the drummer, that guy, though. Yeah. Were you in his band?
Oh yeah, I was up there doing everything. Because that was when Hockenberry had just got up there. Timothy Hockenberry.
Look, y'all had a platoon for the ages, man. Y'all had a group for the ages up there, right? Imagine Stout and Hockenberry and Sarver together, and there's a couple other names in there that are legendary, right?
Yes. Yep, Conklin, Beach. Gosh, there were so many of them up there. Robinsons, like you said. When I got there, that just sealed it. Like I became the kid that would, hey, how do I get into airborne school? And go down and every year get an airborne physical, and we'll work on it. Okay, so I did that, and well, I left the freezer up there in 2000, and I went down to Fort Polk, Louisiana, for a 2 Bravo re-enlistment bonus. Sometimes you got to go for the money. And now I had an Alaskan souvenir. So, because I had made the Camo platoon, and this lovely lady from the Camo platoon is still with me 23 years later. So, can't complain.
Amen.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And, like I said, our daughter from up there. So we came down to Fort Polk, and golly gee, next thing I knew, I'm on assignment to go over to be an OC if I'll go to airborne school. And I said, well, hang on, it'll be there in 30 seconds. And we ran over and faxed it off. And then unfortunately, So I went off to airborne school before 9/11, and then unfortunately 9/11 happened when I got back that following uh, fall rather there, and all bets were off after that. You know, especially coming up on this weekend like this, and a lot of great stuff going on in the communities, in everybody's community. I heard retired General Robinson talk today about it. We've got some other great guest speakers lined up throughout the state to kind of showcase what the state did happened out here and so on. Because the wife and I were watching TV, and I was laughing about it, and I said, you were probably doing the same thing, getting changed from PT and getting ready to come in that day, and then that craziness happened, and we got the phone calls, and I know if you were at Bragg, I know you sat in that line of traffic. I heard horror stories about that. Whereas I was on post on Fort Polk, and hey, when that happened, it was grab everything, get here, and let's get to the AHA, and let's get the hell on out of here. Because that was the great thing about Louisiana. I kind of got teamed up with. He had gotten promoted now. Shelton Moore was my platoon sergeant, and he moved me over to be a squad leader because, well, he knew me from Germany and knew my work, all that kind of good stuff. And then there was a lot of XOCs there that were, that was the rotation you guys were on. Was, well, you come out of the seat there, and then you just kind of go down to Fort Polk for a couple of years. Philip Holian, yeah, he was one of the platoon sergeants. I
Yeah,
went to
yeah.
NTC with him.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know O'Holian. So, tell me, since we're talking about it, tell me about how September 11th affected you. Tell me about your thoughts on that day and during that time, and also take me to how you feel about it now, 20 years later. Do you have some thoughts and feelings about it?
No, I mean, when it happened that day, you and I both know you get caught up in that moment. And I was still a young soldier at the time, and when that stuff, when stuff goes sideways, who do you look at? You look at your leadership, you know. Um, and hey, it doesn't matter if it's even today or whatever. I'm sure if I called Gary E right now, he'd be like, Sarver, God damn it, and it'd be all good. But when you're young like that, and especially that the mission's coming, and you've already had a taste of it, kind of had that taste a little bit from Bosnia, so I knew what we were getting into. I mean, I knew how to probe for mines. I'd already done that, So they paired me up with a young private, and we're loading up our Avenger. Like I said, we hauled ass, and I think before the second tower came down, we were in the motor pool already. Because the wife and I were talking about, we were watching it on one of those little 13-inch black and white, that ran off the batteries and stuff in the motor pool. And I'm loading up the Avenger, getting it ready, rock solid, I know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm squared the fuck away, right? Well, my gunner's like, "Hey, Sarge, are we getting real bullets?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "We're going to a two-way rifle range. Uh, so listen the fuck up, and whatever they say, we're doing it, man, and we're gonna get some revenge here." And he goes, "Well, I didn't sign up for that." And I looked at him. I was like, "You didn't sign up for what, motherfucker?" And he was like, I'm a what do they call that? Conscientious objector." Man, Will, I grabbed it. I had the antenna in my hand. I hit him about 2, 3 good times before the platoon sergeant grabbed me. Old Shelton Moore is about 6 foot. Pulls me off the ground. "Sarver, you can't do that. I can't have both of you in jail." By this time, all the privates had pulled the private, off to the side, and the NCOs were all like, "The fuck did little Sarver go and do?" And yeah. So yeah, well, if they think about it, you you know what right looks like, and this jackass says that some old craziness like that. So okay.
On September 11th, Matthew Sarver whooping doggone privates with antennas in the motor pool
Yeah.
while we're getting attacked. I love it, dude. I love it. Right? That's cool. So the statute of limitations is over, man. You can tell that kind of stuff. It's okay, dude. It's okay. I love you, man. Dude, your spirit is so cool, dude. It's so cool. So what was it like? Because you were mature in the Army. Tell me about being mature in the Army and going to jump school. What rank were you?
So yeah, I had just made E6 because to go be an OC you had to be a 6. So I was in November. Um, do I feel robbed? Yeah, I do. I wish I'd have gone as a private because a lot of the instructors once you show up with the patch on and they know, oh, you're an OC. Next thing you know, everybody's talking and oh, you're the OC guy. What? Hey, oh, where are you going to be? You're going to be on Task Force 1? I had no clue what that was, but of course I was already going with it, brother. I was like, yep, that sounds good to me. I'll see you down there in a couple of rotations, brother. I'll hook you up with some pizza in the box. Yeah. And yeah, that was good times. But it was what I expected. A little bit. Everybody says it. We all do. That it got softer, and it did. I mean, I'm really kind of disappointed, but glad I didn't have to go through the 200-foot tower. Yeah, because the winds were real bad. I went in the spring, early spring, fall, well, winter/early spring when it was cold and windy. So, but it was great. Went and did that, and came back to that leg unit of second ACR and just kind of hung out with Holian and all you. Once I came back from school, they were like, "Oh no, he's airborne now. He's got to come over here with us." So,
Right, right. I thought we drug you over to be an OC, right? Didn't we
yep,
drag you over
yep,
there somehow or another? I think Stout came on board
yeah.
and was like, "Hey, yeah, we got this guy over here. We need to have us on the team, right?"
Yeah, because right before that, Harris had come over. I can't remember Harris's first name.
Yeah, I love
Um,
Harris, man. He was a great buddy of mine. I'd love to reconnect with him.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. I'm sure you talked to Martinez. They went to Korea together,
Yeah,
and
yeah, there's a whole story about that. There's a whole
yeah,
story. You probably know some of it. I know some of it. I tried to reconnect with Harris when he got back to Bragg on transition leave or medical
mhm,
leave after that happened, and I was he like blocked me and all that stuff, dude. The last I heard about Harris was that he was a conservation officer in West Virginia. So that's all I know, and most of that comes from Marty.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
looking to do one of these with Marty, man, dude.
That's
Right,
great.
right. I mean, come on, dude. We had some great dudes on the team, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was awesome. I love jumping, and so I kind of went into OC land being a 5 jump chump, and it was funny because Dohan was there still on the team, and Matt Bassett, he had come back. Shoot, all you dudes were over there, and I mean, good grief, that was just awesome. And I had every time we jumped, you know how it was. They would draw 100 chutes, and only 50 people would jump. And so they'd be like, "Anybody else want to go?" I'd be like, "Hey, sure." This is when you think about actually, what it was, just jumping and not a mass tack and any of that. They were fun jumps. But then, that's why when I got to the 82nd, I can tell you, Timmy Hockenberry, one of the first things he had me do, I was jumping in that saw. So it's all good though.
Oh,
Um,
that's great. So tell me, so you left OC land being an OC as a staff sergeant,
yep.
and you went to the 82nd Airborne
Well,
Division?
one big thing happened in OC land too. Will the last year, you know how they do the Jumpmaster schools bringing around MTT? They look left, look right. I said, you guys don't want to go? And they were like, no. They were either hurt or didn't want to. And I was like, well, I'll go. What's the worst that can happen? I fail. And John Maher talked me into it. Yeah. John Maher was like, yeah, you've been on status for more than a year. Like you said, Will, a little more um, mature in things. I think that was because, I didn't come straight in. I actually did, a year in college, and then I was, like I said, I did a year as a Denny's assistant manager in Ohio, and so that really wasn't working out. And
that does not sound exciting. That just does not sound exciting. What did you do? I was an assistant manager at the Denny's. Oh, no thanks.
Yeah. So, like I said, but I was used to dealing with the problems and the conflict. So yeah, the conflict management was a little easy for me and stuff like that. But so that's kind of how that wound up. And then so I go to the MTT. Matter of fact, Staff Sergeant Ball was with me. He went, who had failed like 9 times or something crazy. Yeah. Well, so we pass everything. And, obviously the big one is JMPI. And Will, the Jumpmaster, turned the stopwatch to me, and it was on the dot. And he was like, and you got everything. You are a go. And I was like, oh my God, are you serious?
Hey,
I could not believe it. It was such an honor. And it was funny because right before me, Ball was JMPI. Well, he activated the reserve parachute. So I got a little more in with the evaluator while we waited for Ball to rehab his jumper and just kind of moved on from there. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So
Jumpmaster.
I went from there, freshly Jumpmaster qualified and everything, got my star, had pulled duties with Matt Bassett, was my safety for my very first hang.
Oh, that's great.
I had that boot in my back. Hey, that's a weak peak. Okay. Getting out here even further. Yeah.
Dude, hey, Matt Bassett's old school, dude.
Yeah.
He is old school, dude.
Yep.
Old school mustard stain master blaster, man. Come on.
So when I was in Alaska, they used to put me in the monkey harness and make me video them. Timmy Hockenberry and Joey and all them old dudes hanging like old school, locked the heels in and warned everybody that, hey, you young jump masters, this is going to be something new for you. Watch this. And, I didn't know. I got this big old bulky video camera and I'm videoing them and stuff. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, you were part of the dude. So that I'm telling you, that Alaska platoon was legendary. Legendary. Beach, come on, right? Isn't that a cool dude, right? I can't wait to interview Beach too.
Oh man, from Lima, Ohio.
Oh my gosh, yeah, great folks, great folks.
So
go ahead.
Went from there to Fort Bragg, and that's in 05. You're right. I show up. I've got my star on. Matter of fact, and I was a staff sergeant. I'm trying to kick David I. Folks, who's Sergeant First Class at the time. And, he's still just a snow cone. And I'm like, hey, Sergeant Major, I thought all the platoon sergeants in the 82nd were jump masters. I said, so when you going to give me Folks' platoon? Oh, yeah. Folks used to be my gunner back in Bosnia.
So look, Mongo and I have a deep history too. Now I love old Mongo now.
Yep. And he used to jump with that Mongo in his pocket too.
Oh yeah, dude. So I can't wait. I need to reconnect with him. I can't wait, dude. All this process of talking to all you guys, it just brought so many memories and so much awesomeness back into my life. Thank you for taking the opportunity to talk to me, man. This is so cool seeing you with your 82nd wings, master wings behind you. It's really awesome, right?
Well, this is the setup I use for work too. So I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me saying, "Hey, man, we just served eating the same dirt." I was at Bragg from 85 to 90, and is this still there? Is Sharky still there? And what? Of all the things you remember, you remember Sharkies, or Badger Den or something crazy. Oh, it was the green light. Is what one guy asked me. He's like, "Is the green light still there?" I don't know, sir. And you just kind of use it as an end. But hey, Will, I can't thank you enough for doing these, because when these first started coming around, you were doing these when God rest his soul, freaking Arajo passed away. And I said, that's also, this is a great way to pass our traditions and stories to the younger ones that aren't as resilient, because that was a tough mother scooter. I mean, just when that happened, I was shocked, like, wow. And then I've been kind of watching, I watched my mentors there, like I said, hey, Gary E, just talking. And I said, man, they've got it right, because everybody, we've all had our time over there with loud kabooms. And the best way to do it, Will, is talk to each other, and so I'm real proactive into that. I would rather us all get together like that than, unfortunately, adding to the number, so I can't thank you enough, because just hearing them guys and seeing them and kind of hearing some of their stories, like I caught a little bit of Teddy Knight, and I was like, that, here was another one that always ran in them circles. You hear about them, and it's just been really great to know where they kind of fell in on some things in careers, and because they were great mentors. Y'all were. I mean, you just off the charts. You guys always brought it every day and stuff like that. And I was only just a couple of years behind it, but yeah, you were still one of those dudes that, man, those are the tracks I want to go, kind of deal.
Yeah, great
So,
times, right? Great times. So,
yeah,
so tell me about when you got to Bragg, and so this is early 2000s. You
yep,
guys were
05.
deployed. You guys were getting ready to deploy, or had just deployed. Tell me about that.
No, so what? Plotnik and Kogut would have been still coming back from Afghanistan, or in Afghanistan when we got there. I think we were still in our dens when I got there. And hey, I got to tell a funny personal story. So we get there, and my dad was still alive, and he lived in Burlington, and he come over for the um, All American Week. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I was trying to remember, but no, it was All American Week, because we had the reunion picnic at the end, right? And Colonel Pruitt was showing up. This would have been '05. And Will, my dad played cleanup in World War II, back when everything was still segregated. And one of the first things out of his mouth was, when did they start letting black people be in charge?
Oh, wow.
But he didn't use that term,
Right,
the
right.
slang of it. And and I remember being so embarrassed, because my dad didn't. I didn't grow up with him. He lived in North Carolina. My parents were divorced, and so I'd never really had him out in public. Let's say, you know.
Right, right.
And this was the first real event, and I
Oh,
thought he'd
wow.
really like it, because, like I said, he was a Marine, and just the way he said it, though, Will, uh, the colonel walked over, I think it was, and said, "Hey, it's okay," because they could tell, because I was being like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I apologize," and they were like, "No, it's okay. Things have changed now, and back then, yeah. As a matter of fact, there was a certain barracks, and so on and so forth, and it was just amazing the way it all schemed over." But I was just dying laughing, and just the way that the colonel walked over and said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, hey, thanks for serving that." Back then, because he was in Salerno and stuff. He was an old Browning guy,
Oh,
BAR.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Well, God,
um,
God bless. Thanks for sharing that. I'll tell you what. Look, we we come from a racist past that
Yeah.
I'm ashamed of. Straight up, I'm ashamed of,
Yeah.
and I would apologize for my ancestors. I I'm not sure that I need to apologize for myself necessarily, but I'll
Right.
tell you this. I'll tell you this. I will give an air of apology towards that, and I think you would too, right? As you watch your own father make
Yep.
foibles and stupid remarks and things that it's like, come on, Dad, you want to smack him upside the head,
Yeah.
right?
Hey,
Um,
I was wondering where that swagger stick he used to tell me about was, because he told me, when they chewed back then, and you didn't stand in formation with it because they had that swagger stick, and they'd come behind you, and yeah, he said it'd take you to your knees, and I was like, oh, sound like it sucked, but okay. So yeah, but it was neat because we did get to talk a lot before he passed in 15. Developed that relationship a little more and stuff, and then coming back from those deployments that we had and stuff, and just processing it all and hearing how they processed it back then, was completely different because he was already starting to get a little older, and he knew that Mother Nature was knocking, and so he was already telling me the stories and giving me the old leather bound picture books, and just some great memorabilia. But yeah, so it was really neat to talk to him after we've been through something similar, even 60 years apart, but not
so
nearly like I'm processing it now.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't it neat how each new day brings a new level of clarity and wisdom that you look back on, that just like a layer upon layer. It's like
Yeah,
rings around the tree. So
yeah.
if you had some wisdom to lay on your younger self, back when, what kind of wisdom would you lay on your younger self, do you think?
Don't hesitate, just go in the army, straight out of you know um, straight out of high school. Don't wait, because even though now, like I said, I think I'm kind of set now. I mean, God bless, I'm 100%, and um, you know, I've got a good job with the state and can provide for my family, and we've got we've got everything we need, and I've got a great family. Yeah, we've had some rocky uh, reacquaintances from time to time, but my goodness, when you finally hang the boots up, it's still it's still catching up to me sometimes because it's only been about what, a year and a half now.
Oh,
Um,
really? So
yeah,
I didn't realize that. I didn't
yeah.
realize that. Tell me, yeah. So tell me about the next level of your career. You're a staff sergeant. Tell me about being a platoon sergeant and the next levels and stuff.
Yeah, so so here again, we're in '05, and like you said, we're getting ready to go over and replace. We did the first Iraq '06. Yeah, it was 6-7 there with Cowan and Hockenberry. They were the first sergeants. Um, and Ortega, Thorstadt, all those guys were the platoon sergeants and things like. Mongo was there. Mongo was came out to work at one of the HVT places that I was at and stuff. And then from that, when we came back, that was when it was all hell broke loose. Will, we had moved off our dens. We were up on Smoke Bomb Hill. Uh, Hockenberry had come back early, and Thorstadt and I were the trail party out. And we came back, and Hockenberry hands us the patches, and they were the 108th patch. Thorstadt looks at it, he said, "Fuck am I gonna do with this plunger?" Man, he kept wearing the double A's on both sides for, I think, until he PCS'd out of there. But it was funny. We came back, and like I said, at that point, everybody had left. I looked left and I looked right, and I was like, "Where's Dohan? Where's Maher?" They were now going to warrant schools, and like all you legends were gone. Um, yeah, it was literally Thorstad and I putting together, manifests. Nelson had come around. Um, shoot, and I think that was about the biggest one. Thorstad and I held it down for a while because we had McCrae. I don't know if you know Eric McCrae.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
oh
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
He's still in, dude. He's the commandant of Space Command.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, dude.
Hey,
We remember Eric McRae, right? He's a cool dude. He's a cool dude.
hey.
That's
So
the job I want, though. That's the job I want, though. Is the commandant of Space Command. What'd you do?
yeah.
Excuse me. I'm the commandant of Space Command.
So he was a first sergeant at the time, and somebody had given him echo battery. And I'm sure Plotnick has already covered this one. You already know part of the story here. Well, I was part of that problem too. But anyway, we show up and we walked in the office. We had never met First Sergeant McCrae at the time. I'm sitting there tic-tacking away. Thorstad's reading stuff to me. And in walks McCrae into his office. And, I don't even look up. I'm just too busy typing, right? And Thorstad, first McCrae said something, or Thorstad did, but the long and short of it is, hey, what are you two doing in here? Can we help you? You're in my office. No, you can't be my first sergeant. What? Who the fuck do you think you are? Or something along those lines. And Thorstad said, well, my first sergeant's going to be at least master rated. And I was like, oh, let me just sink down a little more.
Oh no.
Because I come back and I'm now a sergeant first class, just got promoted and stuff, and I've been sort of platoon sergeant times, and then we get back into normal operations. I took first platoon with Copeland. Copeland still, yeah. And then unfortunately we had that fiasco that happened during the 9-10 deployment. But yeah, that Plotnick came on board after a certain platoon sergeant couldn't remember that you need more than 2 left ramps to pull the Avenger back up onto the turret back up onto the truck. Yeah, people didn't really like that one too well. Oops.
Okay, so I mean, look, if you're gonna bring it up, you gotta tell the story. So it's obvious that so if you're gonna demate the Avenger, you gotta have the right ramps to mate it back again. It's unique to airborne units.
Yep.
Okay, a lot other Avengers they don't have this problem, but for an airborne Avenger, you have. So tell the story. Tell the story, Matt.
So as you know it, well, the last time they had been heavy dropping Avengers, we were still on Ardennes. Shoot, I think you might have even still been there because I don't think they dropped any. I don't remember hearing any stories after 9/11. After you guys pushed out, I think it was Alpha Battery pushed out to Afghanistan for support. I don't think they did any more heavy drops. Well, in 07 there, we got old Aaron Felter as the commander, and he wanted to do heavy drops all the time. And at that point, Herc, doggone it, Hernandez was the S3 Air. And he had jetted me aircraft for every month. And he had jetted one he had requested, JAT request. He had requested a heavy drop, and we hadn't done it ever. But I had a couple E6s that had Jermaine Fox, for example. He had been there. That's another one. And Eric Hickey was with him too. And so they get it all set up, and they're like, hey, we can do this. No big deal. Albright was still in the battalion too. He went down and looked at it, but didn't think anything of it. And gets down there, like you said, they've demated it, and it's on that special 16, the special pallets, and it's all good to go. And I'm thinking, all right, man, we're in like Flynn. This is going to be awesome. Well, it lands, and they get it all off, and they're going to pull it back up to remate it, and they're like, "Hey, what isn't right here?" Here to find out, they had two left ramps instead of a left and a right. Golly gee. So yeah, that doesn't help when you clog up the DZ, for an extra hour.
Oh no! So you got to get a crane out there and lift it up.
No, it was faster to drive out because as soon as we realized it, well, the maintenance warrant was on the ground, and as soon as he realized it, he had sent somebody back to pick him up, and they had already made it out, because it was right there on Sicily, so it wasn't very far. I mean, we were still down at the motor pool, down the hill. Yeah, so it didn't take long at all. They brought out the right ramps, and I didn't even get yelled at for it. I didn't know the whole half of that story until what? Probably I'd say 3-4 years ago, 5 maybe. Talking to Gary, talking to Plotnick, and he was like, I kind of had to put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, oh well, I guess I was the idiot that didn't know how to do that.
No way. So tell me, I mean, you've listed so many names already. Tell me about your mentors. Tell me those guys that really took you under their wing and helped you. Tell me
Yeah,
some of those names.
yeah. You and I both know that we'd be here all night long for both of us. But the highlight of it, obviously I met the bear back in the day too, Wilbur Adams. Matter of fact, he helped make sure that when my wreath went on, that it got seated properly.
He was, dude. You don't want him pinning your doggone master wings on, man. Ouch.
Well, by that point, it was Mr. Wilbur, but still, because it was at the ball in what, '09, right before we pushed across with Gary. Yeah, not much going on. We had a reenlistment, an SMJP, some assistant, the assistant division commander wanted to jump on that Saturday too because it was beautiful. And I said, "Oh, lovely. Hey, sir, but I got a Stinger missile that I was going to put out the door too." And he was like, "What does that mean?" Ding, ding. Come on over, sir. Let us tell you what we can do for you. And we, went through that whole thing, and then afterwards, Harold Lincoln and Gary E. Plotnick came over and put on my nice little wreath, and it was the weekend before we were deploying, so I jumped in a teddy bear from my daughter and gave it to her because everybody knew, it became real small after you guys left. That's what I was getting to in 06, 07 there. Man, I said, where did y'all go? Next thing I know, it's like I didn't have any of that knowledge or anybody to check me, and it was all on me. And I can remember, like I said, a couple of the main mentors, Joey Stout, and Hockenberry. Those guys, obviously, they stick out. So Sergeant Sanks, this Mr. Sanks, and he was over in Desert Storm originally and cut off his thumb, so he'd always miss. So he'd be sitting there in his green book, but it was really him early in my career. Him and my 2 squad leaders. I still talk to Michael Plemons to this day. He invited me down there to Florida anytime. Retirement is great. See what I do now, and I said, wow, that's great. But those were some of the early ones. But like I said, you really and I can't remember which Sutton it was, but I had met a Sutton over there, and he, like I said, double stacked, and he was Ranger tabbed. And I was trying to find him because he here again, we're in Bosnia, and he's walking around in a K-bar, and he caught a snake, and he's going to go show it to the first sergeant, and the first sergeant was definitely afraid of snakes. And here comes old Ranger Sutton, and he's like, Hey, Top, you want some dinner tonight? And of course, he had the 82nd combat patch on,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, so um, that was, those were the guys that you just kind of, you know, meandered to and you followed because, what the way they did stuff, you knew it was doctrinally sound and somebody had taken care of them. And you always tried to do that. And that's one of the biggest things I learned. Like you said, you get a good mentor like Joe or Gary, and you just try to absorb like a sponge as much of it as you can. Gosh, what was his name? Gary Falk, Jerry Falk. There, right? Uh, Here again, when I passed Jumpmaster school, we didn't really have a budget for like OC or Jumpmaster knives and stuff, right? As OCs, yeah, we got a lot of cool flashlights and everything else. He went out of his own pocket to buy me a Jumpmaster armband and gave it to me and said, never forget, the air is unforgiving and their lives are in your hands from now on. And you take that to heart. And God, I get goosebumps thinking about it now
Wasn't he
because
a
he was
great
just such,
guy?
yeah, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. Tell me, tell me about, tell me about being in charge of people and thinking about their lives and being in your hands. And did that affect you in a way? Did you lose soldiers or have to deal with that kind of thing?
No, no, I Rushbrook. So our good current CSM over there. We were E5s together back in that great platoon. And I give him shit all the time because he always used to say he's never going airborne. And look at him now. Where are you at now, partner? So, but it was just something because those guys, we just always wanted to. You knew that there was something else going on, so we always worked together to get there, and it's just been amazing.
That's cool. Tell me that they say there's no atheist in foxholes. Tell me about your spirituality. Is there something that you look to, or I'm gonna tell you straight up, my grandma, is something that was a great inspiration to me. Is there something or someone that was an inspiration, or some spirit that was an inspiration to you as you were going through your tough times?
Uh, no, I mean, you know, uh, after seeing what we've seen of the world and what has caused all the fighting and all this religion, and I've just been really trying to be real open about it. Am I, Lutheran by birth and upraising? Yes. Um, some of the things that we saw over there in Bosnia and places like that for the first time, um, really, really had me questioning things, and still kind of does from time to time. Um, so yeah, I believe that there's a higher power, but I'm not ready to say that, you know, I guess I'm more that, hey, everybody can just, whatever you would like to pray to or believe in, do it. As long as it's in a healthy, compassionate way that you don't want to hurt or kill somebody, that's great, because I can't stand that crap of, well, because you're not this, I'm going to shoot your kid. What? Whoa, 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 whoa. You know? So, yeah.
Amen. Amen, brother. Amen. 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 We often wonder our path, right, and where we could have done something different, or where the good times were. I remember some good times. If
Yep.
you if you could go live 1 year again of your life, where would you go? When would it be? What would you do?
Ah, man. Well, that's a tough one. Um, well, I mean, because I don't know. When I went on active duty, it was to see the world and get out there and um, like I said, when I signed the paperwork for those 26 years, 16 of them were overseas. And I said, wow, I really didn't realize that. But I kind of look back at it and I'm like, yeah, we were laughing. Like I said, I went to PLDC in Graf, Germany. And then I was just over. Old Gary E had me going to Romania, Bulgaria, Poland, and literally. So what happened was, whatever it was, 6, 17, 18, something like that, when he became the CSM of 10th AAMDC at ROB with Colonel Shank. Man, one Monday morning, Shank said, he walked in, had his normal meeting, and said, "Who here knows anything about the Stinger?" Not a peep. So Plotnik opens the door, and in walks Sarver, and he goes, "Check it out. This is my Avenger Master Gunner. If you try to do anything with a Stinger, tell him. He will be there in a heartbeat." And that's his only job. But he is a master gunner. He knows everything about the Stinger. And I was like, oh, thanks, sir. That was some huge, shoes there, right? So it was great because it was bringing SHORAD back to Europe. And the same shit I had done in '94, in BDUs. Now I was doing it in OCPs in those foreign countries, and some of the counterparts were like, "Oh, you can't do that," and I'd break out the pictures. Hey, you want to see us in BDUs? It's pretty cool.
All right. So let's talk about something just for a second, okay? Sure. How are we gonna do these drones? I mean, what the heck? What's because the Stinger? I mean, come on now, what the heck, right? I mean, you shoot one. What are we gonna do? What? Of course, they got lasers now. They got radio beams they can shoot them out of the sky with, and all kinds of stuff. What do you think? What do you think, man?
Yeah, I saw the what is it, that net thing. And that would be a good idea. I mean, think about it. You could put it in an infantry squad and, big ass beanbag round or whatever, and takes the whole thing down. And hey, there you go. And these kids these days, come on, they know how to do all that technology stuff, So hey, I wouldn't put it past them. But I think that's how you get after it, is bring something like that, Because you're right, you're not going to shoot a $2 million missile at it.
Yeah, it's like, woo.
Well, but it was more like what, the threat they were all worried about over there was the little Cessnas and stuff like that. Like Poland was just, that was amazing. We were up there on the Baltic Sea, Utska. And yeah, you had to like fish because they served fish with every meal. And it was crazy. And like I said, when I showed up, they were like, "Who is this First Orange Sarver guy? Why does he have to be on the range?" Because the USARA, the guy at range for the ran range control for Germany, found out that I was there. And when I had gone in, introduced, and talked about bringing the Avenger back, because they hadn't even done any live fires over there since, I think it was '05, when everybody pulled out of Germany completely for SHORAD anyway. And so, it was reselling us to everybody. And yeah, being up there in Utska, it was great. I come walking in there and I was like, oh, all right, well, this is different. That old Soviet bloc stuff. We were right up there with right next to the towers that they would use every night and stuff. Just seeing all that was just amazing, let alone you're in the pit with them. So that was really great.
So you're an Avenger Master Gunner.
Yep, that was the other thing, 5.
So you gotta so tell me what you thought. I thought that M2 50 cal, or that 50 cal machine gun that was mounted, was a badass, right? Woo! You could tear something up with that 50 cal, right?
Yes, sir. The old M3P. Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
M3P.
Yes,
That's
sir.
dude. It would eat you up, man.
Yep.
If you could keep it fed, it would shoot.
Did so in what 05, 06, they put an up gun on it. They took a pod off, moved it up, added another 200 rounds, and tried
Oh,
that
really?
for it was over there for a couple of years. We fired it when we got there in 06.
Oh,
Old
wow.
McManus and I. Yep.
No way,
Yep. Yep. Yeah, we were roommates over there actually, in that 6-7 rotation.
dude. You're like new school and so old school at the same time. You're spanning that gap, man.
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Cause,
Yep.
dude, Thorstad's definitely old school, right?
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
come on, right? Come on, right? Stats like the original grumpy old man, and you're grumpy old man number two, and
Hey
then
now.
Bassett's actually the OG man. He's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
OG
definitely.
grumpy old man.
Oh, but it's been great because reputations precede you, right? So here it was, what was it, 1819, and Gary E. Plotnick is over there, and we're doing a live fire in Crete, Greece. That was beautiful, beautiful. Well, lo and behold, we get down to the Stinger missiles, and the National Guard unit was supposed to be shooting them. They pulled out. They said we can't send our people, but our equipment's still over there. So um, I can't go into that detail, but I can tell you this: I do know how each single Avenger got driven from port to the firing range. Uh huh.
You?
Because we were waiting for the platoon of people to arrive from 3480A because they ponied up 8 of their guys, Bubbas and Bubbettes, to come over along with their Avenger Master Gunner and just fall in on the equipment for the live fire.
Oh,
And
wow.
here again, that was a blast. So here come these 8 hard charging guys from Fort Bragg. They all had passports and the 4 young kids. And at the time, the sergeant majors weren't on the island yet. So I'm the senior ranking guy, and I'm like, "Come here, Sergeant First Class." And he's like, "Yeah, what can I do for you? I'm looking for this guy." And I was like, "No, no, 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 you're not. No, you're not. They are fucking legs. You are from 3-4. You know exactly who I am." And they were like, they all go to parade rest in civilian clothes and stuff. And I read them the riot act. I said, "Remember where you're at. This is not Ardennes. Do not think you're going to run around
Oh,
because
that's great.
we're over there doing for the first time, and you know how patriot guys are." And I said, "But trust me, I'll let you know when you can go and cut loose, and I'll give you a no later than time." And he was like, "Track and all." And we had the best live fire that they had in a long time. I mean, I think we hit 11 out of, I think it was 13 or 14 missiles, direct hits. And shoot, matter of fact, because the other guy in the pit, yeah, that might have been old Cruz,
No
Ricky.
way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's great, man.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, it was great to see them guys at the end there. Cruz actually had just had back surgery, and he was all like going to the shopette, still buying, some dip, and he's trying to cart along a 5-gallon water can. Like literally, I said, "Didn't you get out of surgery earlier, Sergeant Major?" I said, "Give me that damn thing." I grabbed the water jug for him, put it in his car. "Yeah, man. Yeah, you know how it is."
it's interesting looking back on all of our little personalities, right? Weren't we all so unique in our
Yep.
our little mannerisms and the things we did and said? Each one of us, all of us, in our own way, had unique things. What is it that was your superpower? Do you think? What was it that made you? Because dude, you're a star, man. You
Yeah.
are a star. You were a star. What's your superpower, man?
I wouldn't say I had one. Other than I was kind of like your record player. Well, for a few years, I was the guy that called you and said, "Hey, Stout's in town. We're all getting together," and things of that nature, because I was kind of like the organizer up in Alaska, and then like um, shoot, one of the first times that we were getting ready to go to JRTC, right? It was with the brigade up in Alaska, and we did a little 4 mile run. No big deal, it was really cool. They had cannons on the corners and guns, and just all that cool stuff. And then they had a beer truck.
Matt Sarver's idea, everybody.
Oh no, Joe Stout said, "Hey, go get that empty keg, bring it up here. Let's swap it out for a full one."
There we go. Matt Sarver implementing, ladies and gentlemen.
With a couple other paratroopers, So yeah, it was great. Matter of fact, that was where I met Kevin Turbin and Turbo. Yeah, Turbo was up there. He was the best man at my wedding and stuff. And we actually, when we PCS'd from Korea back to Germany, we stopped up there in Alaska and saw them and stayed with them for a week. And man, it was like Alaska is like the place that time stands still. It's beautiful up there. You ever get a chance? You ever been up there, Will?
I've just flown through and had a couple
Yeah.
layovers. I've never been up there. I want to go on like a cruise or something. Go up there and then of course I want to chase the grizzlies around for a little bit.
Going up there on moose season?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about brag on your family for me a little bit. Tell me about those that love you and you love.
Well, that's easy to do. And here again, been ups and downs with us. My second and third wife, they're one and the same as some of you might know that know me. I take a little break during our Fort Bragg days because, you know, one thing we're seeing now is I guess you never really get how much you're in the moment when you're there. And you're not really in the moment. You're actually already thinking about the fight, and you're thinking about packing your A bag, your B bag, and you're thinking about, hey, did Will do it? Hey, did I call Will, and did I share the checklist with him? Just so much of that, and to be able to reconnect now has been unbelievable. Uh, I've learned a lot of um, just patience and compassion for life and for it. It hasn't been easy since I've been back. I've ran into a few things that I've been like, why am I getting mad? Like at the end of the day, I'm like, why did I get irritated at that? And I said, oh, okay, I just gotta slow it down and digest it and live in the moment. And I've been trying to do that a lot more now at night,
Amen.
and I can tell. My wife loves that. I kind of understand my kid a little bit, even though I don't think you really do when they're in those college years. Um, but yeah, we get along great. I love her to death. They're here again, guys will tell you stories about always seeing my kid up there at work. We put her out of the 34-foot tower when she was just, oh yeah, oh, you know, family days when you used to bring in the family too and all that kind of stuff. Exactly, and it took a toll on them too over the years, and especially, Will, like anybody, after 9/11, everything changed. And I think you always, probably up until the day you hung up your boots, you always worried about that red Corvette call, didn't you? Yeah.
Red Corvette. I saw that the other day on Facebook. Somebody had said something about they were current members of the 82nd Airborne Division. Said something about never thought I'd hear that red Corvette, and I was like, "Woo! Wow! I hadn't thought about that, right?" And forever, that was our special friggin' Cold War code word,
Yep.
Shh. But that was a big deal. That was a big deal. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. What do you have a airborne legacy, Master Blaster? Do you have a legacy that you would tell your grandkids about and say, puff your chest out and say, I mean, come on, talk to me. I mean, you're a badass paratrooper. You carried the
Well,
saw, you
well,
jumped the saw.
I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the story, not the one that Mongo will tell you, because ask Mongo about Sarver's first jump, and Mongo will be like, "Man, he hit the side of the aircraft." Okay, and yeah, I think some of it was Mongo and Dohan just giving me a hard time. But no, to cut to the chase, Will, here it is. It was 08. I was primary, and I had that new private, Private Lee, and yeah, he's still serving right now. And Private Lee was my number one. He's getting ready. He was number 3, I think, number 3 jumper, and he's green lights on, jumpers are going, and sure enough, old Private Lee stumbled and fell to the door, and I guess so I pick him up with one hand, and I don't remember. Thorstad is telling me the story. He's like, "You picked him up off the floor, set him back down, and said, 'You good? Okay, bye,' and safely exited him out of the aircraft. And the whole, the rest of the chalk went off safely. So that is my, like, hey, when things go wrong, we take care of it, and we still execute. Yep, it was, yeah. So, but yeah, that's one of the ones that I always like to tell, and that's the one that pumps it up and goes out a lot.
Dude, that's awesome. So tell me about being like my time in the army. Being a first sergeant was the best, right? Tell
Yeah.
tell me about your time as a first sergeant.
Oh, you're right. It was the best time. Um, oh my goodness, and it kind of came through the airborne channels. I got here to Fort Sill. I got orders to go be an AIT platoon sergeant. I went through the pilot program of that, and I went through the pilot program of being a master resiliency trainer. How to hug a soldier. No lie, it is.
Hey, there's
but
a lot of value in that,
but
dude.
there
There's
is.
a lot of value in that. Okay, we can
Yeah.
make all kinds of fun about it,
Yep.
but straight up, we need to learn to take care of each other, right? You know that.
Exactly.
You know that.
Yep. Yep. And and like you said, we need to take care of each other rather than. And I do it, and I don't even realize I'm doing it now, or so I've been told by a few of them. Because it's some of the ways and that I talk and stuff like that. So, yeah, I did that. The master resiliency trainer, and um, came over there as soon as I got that first TRADOC NCOER. Man, that was it. I came out on the first list. So I moved over to be Charlie Battery, the Sierras, because at that point they had consolidated them down to one battery here at Fort Sill. They had just moved up here. I mean, literally had just moved up here. I attended the first cycle, the whole 9 yards. And halfway through, like I said, I got to take over for being that first sergeant. Like, we won the intramural football, flag football. I had some great NCOs. I hate to say it, they were choking chicken kids, but it's all good. Um, you know, uh, they just had taught the privates how to play, and we won like Sierras do. We won the whole doggone thing, and nobody's talking shit, and I'm like, watch this, and we just ran over all the Patriot people and had a great time. But that kind of set it up, because Colonel Adams, Brian D. Adams, was the battalion commander, and he was ecstatic that a Jumpmaster in his battalion had made the list, and That kind of set it up for Korea, being over there with Ellsbury. And yeah, you know, and I had met him one a long time ago, and then all of a sudden, here he is. It was supposed to be Kogut, but Kogut did Kogut things, and so it wound up being Ellsbury. Yeah, and you know, from there, I got ready to leave Korea, and Korea was just awesome. I took the family, and it was my daughter's freshman year in high school. She loves Korean to this day. She'll make bibimbap for you. A lot of Asian stuff going on, if you will. And that unit, I was the HHB first sergeant, so I had 250 Muldoons. You know,
Ooh, that ain't no. Hey, dude, gathering all them folks up, dude, it's tough, man. It's tough. Hey, you
but
need first sergeant details. First sergeant details.
herding cats, right? Yep. So, but yeah, I did that in Korea, and then um, got orders for. They said, "Hey, we've got an opening in Germany," and I was like, "Shoot, heck yeah!" Because at this point, I knew I was at 20, and you know, looking at where are we hanging it up at, and I had promised my wife that we'd go back to Germany again because all she heard was the great stories of Germany when I first met, and so I was like, "Let's go make some stories of our own," you know, and
Amen. Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's when you went back and ended your tour over there.
Yep. And actually, I went over when I went to Germany from Korea because I did a COT, consecutive overseas tour. I get over there into Germany, and I'm supposed to be going to one of those space commands. And I was like, what? Well, old Stephen Burnley is the sergeant major over there at the time. And he called me and he goes, "Hey, I need you to go to Turkey uh, next week. Pack your bags for a year." What? Wait a minute. I just got out of Korea. So off to Turkey I go. I had managed to talk him into giving me a month or two at the house, and then I went over. I was in Turkey when the coup happened.
Oh wow.
That was interesting, being the highest ranking, uh, you know, the second 2IC, however you want to look at it, after the commander during a coup. And like I said, we were doing something with a space asset in a very remote location. And, you know, one of those things. Have you ever had a first sergeant gig where you had a personal security detachment? Yeah. I was like, what? What? Sergeant Major, where in the freak are you saying? So had a good year over there. And then I came back to Germany, and they kind of started to work it out how the unit would actually go over as a whole rather than, um, you know, piecemealing it. Because what you did is you went to Germany to ROB there at Ramstein, and you'd go over to Turkey or you'd go over to Israel for 6 months and then come back. Well, they found out that it would be cheaper if you just came over for a year unaccompanied and made it like going to Korea. So, but that had a lot of great things because, I mean, that's Europe, you know. Well, while I was away doing great things for God and country, hey, the girls were having a great time in Europe. I mean, you know, so I loved it.
Amen. Well, good, good, good. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah,
It's about where we're at now. You know,
yeah,
it's about where we're at now and living in the now. And you're doing a good job with that. Dude, I'm so proud of you and your new job and the
yeah.
way you're helping veterans out and stuff. And you got just such a great smile and an aura about you. And the longer I talk to you, the more I realize that we're the same, dude. You and I are the exact same, man. You know, come on. I was born in '68, and
Okay,
I grew up with on a cul-de-sac with the woods behind my house, riding my
right.
mongoose BMX bike with my tough wheels, you know, and my crossbar handlebar, you know, and stuff.
Yeah,
trying to learn how to do a tabletop off of a ramp, and giving away my skateboard because I could not do a skateboard, dude. I'm like, no, here, you have this. I don't want
Yep.
it. I don't
Yep.
want it.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, because I remember, I think it was Stout. We stopped over in El Paso to your place over there to have lunch with you or something.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what in the world it was. But yeah, yeah, good times. But that's what I'm saying. You just out of nowhere, and especially with like I said, one thing that I always saw with you guys that I always, like I said, you kind of go towards the guys like the Stouts and the Leeches and a real high standing, upstanding citizen, and just things like that. Because like I said, um, it it's just been a great ride the whole time, up to the end there. With like I said, Burnley sending me over there, and then when I came back, Plotnik was like, my daughter was getting ready to graduate from high school, so I took like a month off and flew back here and stuff, and got to spend time and get her situated and stuff. And then like I said, when I got back to Germany, being the Avenger Master Gunner, man, it was awesome. But you're right about being the same. Those BMX bikes, yeah, I had a Huffy though.
Hey, dude, Huffy was good, man. You just had to, supposedly had to watch out for breaking the frame or something. But I never saw nobody breaking no frame. But that's just what they wrote in the magazines back then, dude. We was 70s and 80s kids, man. They was just
Yep.
making up shit as they went along, man. They were trying to fool us, man. It's fake news back then, man. It was a bunch of fake news.
Hey, that was when they had newspapers and all that kind of stuff, and you
Yeah,
didn't have
man.
to, Hey, I think they're serious about, your phone's going to be like your hand, or, you know, um,
So,
it's crazy.
so look. I mean, I don't know where my other one is, but look, I'm a cyborg. We are cyborgs, okay? The only thing that keeps us from being a cyborg is our data entry speed. We
Yeah.
can't type or talk into our thing to text it in. Eventually, we're gonna have our little watches, and it will think into the watch. It'll go into the phone. It'll go in the computer. It'll go in the mainframe, and then they'll go, you are thinking wrong. You are thinking wrong. You are thinking wrong. And then they'll send a shock to our head, and then we'll be fine. We'll be fine. That's what happens,
Oh
man.
man.
It's gonna happen. That's where it's gonna end up, right? We're gonna right. Remember when we were at JRTC and we wanted the Miles gear that when you got a shot would shock you, right? We wanted
Yep.
that. We're like, we need it to shock them so it'll tell them, you're doing wrong. You're doing
Oh
wrong. Get
man.
cover. That's what's gonna happen, man. We're gonna have this algorithm in our phone. They're like, we're gonna think about like looking at porn. All of a sudden, it's be like, yeah, it's gonna happen,
Uh,
man. It's gonna happen.
yep.
So, 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 look. Before we get out of here, and dude, I haven't laughed. Dude, I've been laughing this whole time, man.
Well,
Thanks
good.
for hanging
Good.
out with me, man. It's so cool, right, dude?
Yeah.
Dude, Matt Sarver, man. I mean, you're a Jumpmaster, 86, dude. Because you
Nah.
bridge that gap. You bridge a huge gap
Because
for me, anyway. JP Nelson, like, right, he's a new age guy, in
yeah.
my opinion. Thorstad, no, old. Sarver, old, right?
Yep. Yep.
But
Yep.
JP Nelson and Cameron
Copeland.
Copeland, that new guys, right?
Yep.
New
Yep.
guys, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting to see that and watch
Well,
because it is old division, new division. It's a really neat
but you
thing.
got to remember the legacy that you guys left was because you were a black hat over at the airborne school, right?
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
oh yeah.
come on, that was, and here again, that was a role that fell away, and you didn't realize the importance of it. And thank God that some people really did, and didn't let that keep slipping, because like I said, I felt really alone, uh, because you guys weren't there no more, and I was like, man, They took their toys and went home. Damn it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so
But
awesome. That is so awesome. So, hey, look, okay, I'm not saying we got to close up now,
sure.
but before we get out of here, you got to call your unit to attention and then salute and sign out. Like, say, like the first sergeant signing out kind of thing,
Right, right.
All right. So, yeah, you got to do that for sure. What, like, what, what was the funnest part of being in the Army for you? Was I like a lot of people say camaraderie. That's what I love, dude. I loved running down the road, all of us together. Looking back on it, look, I hated getting up for PT. I did. I sucked. I didn't want to do that. But looking back on those days when we ran down the road together and we had those battalion runs and things, dude, that was cool as shit, man.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, it was. And look at it. That brought you. Who did you see last thing at night when you were buffing the floors? That same guy. Hey man, guess we got stuck with buffer duty tonight. Or down at Apple Bombs with a beer mug. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first time I met Paris Williams. I was out in Deutschland, and I was with Thorstadt, and old Paris Williams was being Paris Williams, just running amok. And next thing I know, Thorstadt said, "Hey, you might want to grab that beer bottle." I said, or that beer mug. I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I'm about to clock this dude," and just went, "Oh, wow!" And I was like, "Fuck! All right, let's get it, boys." And next thing I know, yeah. And like I said, so those mentors, like I didn't realize Paris and our paths crossed as much as they had. And then when he showed up at Bragg too, it was like, man, putting two and two together again. I was surrounded by greatness. It's no wonder, that I'm in the positions and given the opportunities to succeed. So,
Dude, you're a legend, man. Matt Sarver, First Sergeant Matt's Jumpmaster. Matt
nah,
Sarver,
that's
dude. That's
because you
cool.
were.
No, no, no. Well, look. Okay. So listen, straight up. Straight up. Look, I did the things I did, and it was wonderful. It was my time. You have and had your time, and you
Right.
continue to have your time, and I'm proud of you, dude. I remember like so. We talk about our paths crossing a couple times. Yes, I definitely remember hanging out with you with Stout at Bliss a couple times, but I
Yeah.
remember when you showed up at JRTC too. I was on my way out
Right.
towards being an OBC instructor and stuff in 2001
Yep.
ish. But yeah, I definitely remember you coming on the team, man, and great times, dude. I'm like my heart is my heart is just swelling up with love, hanging
Yeah.
out with you, dude. It's really an awesome thing, man. So, so, um, do me one last thing. Plug your job. Tell me again what you're doing, and then you got to call us to attention and
Gotcha.
sign out, okay? But tell me about your job and what it is you're doing again.
So I'm working with the state of Oklahoma. All right. When you go through TAP class, you hear, "Hey, if you need help with your resume once you're out, you can go to an American Job Center and you can get help." Right. That's the plug through the TAP class because they don't really cover. I mean, it's like a half a day on resumes and stuff like that, and it really doesn't leave you that prepared. Um, but they at least give you a point of contact. Well, I get out, I'm looking for a job. I'm going down to the big, huge hiring our heroes events, and I just wander over there. And this one booth, they're all cool, and this is some veterans thing, and what the heck? All right, so I go look at it. It's the Oklahoma Employment Security Commission, which I've never heard of. And oh, by the way, that's who handles your unemployment. But we are veteran services, and here it is, a lieutenant colonel, used to be 325 battalion commander, back in the day kind of deal. That's what he did years ago, and he's now working for the state. And what he'll do is call and do this. And I was like, man. And then all of a sudden another guy walks over, he's got a Navy hat on, and he's like, man, don't listen to a doggone thing he says. He's all full of it. And I was like, wow. And the camaraderie of it was the Army guy, that was a Navy dude. And then they had another Air Force person with them. And I just thought it was great how, everybody could still get together and pick on each other, just like we were still on duty. So I got a job as a local veterans employment representative with the Veteran Services Department of the Oklahoma State. So it's been great. Like I said, I've got a team underneath me because they've made it a management position of DevOps, 5 other great Americans. Like I said, Robert Williams, like I said, brother, you got to hook him up. You'll hear some stories that you'll just be like, what? And then I've got an Air Force retired E9, and then 3 Navy veterans. And well, like I said, what we do is we help you write your resume and get your job ready, help you with your interview. And then I will call an employer and be like, hey, Tyson Foods. Yeah. Hey, man, I know you're looking for a project manager. Well, let me tell you about Will Marshall. He's a retired Navy or retired Army veteran, and he is outstanding. He can, well, tell you what, did you know that you can get a tax credit by hiring him? So that's what I'm doing out there.
Yay, that's awesome.
Helping all of them. We just got a gentleman, a veteran that just got out, did 20 years, saw him first class. He had been having a hard time. I got him an interview with Walmart Distribution, and that gentleman now makes close to 6 figures with Walmart here in Oklahoma.
Amen.
So,
yay. Well, good.
Yeah, so it's great. I like working with vets, and helping them. Also let you know who to get with to get your VA stuff. That's always important as you retire. How do we get in the system? Are we in the system? Are we getting everything that we should? So we put our lives out there for it. I think that's something good for all of us. But just being able to know all those contacts is great.
Amen.
But I'll go ahead and let you sign off, and we'll take this on. And thank you again, Will. This has been awesome. Been an honor to do this with you, sir.
Hey, hadn't it been fun? I mean, come on, dude. You're a legend, man. It's just blesses my heart to talk to you and to see your smile. So, yeah, call your unit to attention and go ahead and go ahead and sign out for us.
Can't. Hellraiser 7 signing off.
I love it. That's awesome, dude. That's the best, man. Hey, thanks, Jumpmaster. I appreciate it, dude. You are the man.
Anytime. And like I said,
it's been so much fun, man.
Hey, and seriously, if you need help finding people or anything like that, let me know, because this is a really, really great tool. I like I said, I caught it after you did Paris's, and I just thought, hey, this is something I can get on board with. That it's a different angle, and maybe we can get, to some of those that are feeling overpressured and stuff like that. We had a rash of it in Bravo there.
Amen.
And golly.
Hey, so look, one of the things, just what I'm trying to do, Matt, is just get our stories told. Get these stories told before we're sick, or we're too old, or we got something going on that our attitude's in the wrong place. And so,
hey, Will, I don't know about you, but I'm worried about, how many times did we hit our heads back then? And we don't know what that has done. I mean, I didn't really, I thought it was kind of funny, but yeah, did I go in and talk to behavioral health? Oh yeah, you're right. And she was like, because I said, I could tell you a funny story from each duty station I was assigned to where I knocked myself the fuck out, saw stars, everything, TKO'd, like even one of the first dates that my wife and I went on. I busted my freaking noodle coming out the door. I turned her right back around, went upstairs, took them doggone boots off that I thought were so cool that I had to have. Man, yeah.
Oh, that's funny, dude. That's
Hey,
funny.
Will, I know my wife's really going to be wanting to see this, and so just please let me know when you put it up there and everything.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, hey, look, I asked somebody to do this a while ago, and I was just a couple nights ago. I was just wondering if I could get you to do that to just say that you support, Marshall in the Middle and Heroes I Know and what we're doing, and like and subscribe. Could you say something like that? I'm trying to get a little snippet or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, hey, Marshall in the Middle, this show is off the chain. You cannot miss it.
Oh, that's so funny, right? It's so self-promotion is so weird, right?
It is.
It's like weird, and it's like um but let me tell you something. One of the things that's so amazing about this is the relationships that you and I have from just look a snippet of time together, right? That we have, but look, dude, you call me on the phone and say I need you, dude. I'm there. I am smoking, heading your way to help you, and you
Well,
know that, and I know you'd be the same for me, and
yeah.
lots of brothers out there, right?
Hey, look at that thing with Ramirez and oh, oh boy, big dude from that's down in Texas. And he had the brain thing not too long ago.
To my maggot.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. And you know how like I remember seeing in there that he went down and like, hey, just taking care of each other. That's
Yeah.
that's what it's about. And hey, and on the other part of it, Will, this Marshall in the Middle thing, that's what does it. It helps bring us together. Like you said, telling the story. And we need to do this. We need to get this stuff out and talk about it. Will, maybe next time we'll set up one and you can call me back and we'll talk about the T10 Delta parachute, Avenger Master Gunner stuff, things of that nature. We can nail them down a little further here.
Oh,
But
I love it. I love it. That would be
yeah,
great. That would be great. First start, Matt Sarver, Jumpmaster extraordinaire. Dude, I love you, man. Thanks so much for spending some time with me. I'm honored. Heroes I Know, Matt Sarver. Thanks, buddy.
heroes I know. Thank you.